To be brutally honest, I consult with companies of all sizes now to implement better product management processes. So this is like my main job that I do during the day. And they're great companies, and I love what they're doing. When I come in and I kind of diagnose the problems and look at, why our teams prevented from doing good product management, all the companies always think that it's because their teams aren't trained. So I come in and I'll train them. We have a program for that. And some of the times that's true. We have a lot of product managers who just kind of got thrown into the job and it was like, go, and they don't have the support they need to get trained. So that's a huge issue. But once we train them, once we do that and they know how they should be operating, we run into the next level, which is the managers of the product managers, right? And we find that most of those managers are just dictating down solutions to the teams and telling them what to do. And this is widespread. It's every single company I've ever seen operates this way. It's not just one specific company. It's just almost everybody does this. And it starts even further up at the top. Sometimes it's the CEO just saying, go do this, go do that. And then those middle managers just repeating it down. So my biggest advice for any manager of product managers is to just get out of the way of the teams, right? So the best thing that you can do as a manager, any kind of manager at any level, is your job is to provide that direction I talked about, but at a higher level. What are the goals? How are we going to measure you for success? Let's make sense out of our space and figure out what's the first big step we need to take to reach that vision. I'm going to narrow down the scope for you so that you can concentrate in these areas around these specific goals. And then let your team kind of figure out what to do. How do we get there? How do we execute on this? How should we get there? And you keep them on track. Like, you provide the guardrails of, this is in scope, this is not in scope for you. This is something that you can play with. This is what you can't. For example, if you're doing a company where you're pricing things, as a manager, you might say, you guys cannot change the price, but you can do anything around that, right? Like, this is something that stands still. So you let people know where the boundaries are, and you let people know what the goals are, where the success is, why you chose that, where the direction is, where's the vision, and then you let them figure out how to reach it. And then you coach them through that, right? You give them direction. If you have more junior people, you're going to have to hold their hand a little more. You're going to have to show them and mentor them and do some of that apprenticeship model we've been talking about. But if you have very competent people in a self-organized team that's like got the resources they need, your job as a manager is to provide that direction and then be the shit umbrella that stops everybody from interfering with them, right? You keep them on track, you let them run, but you give them the space that they need to really get in there. And I think that's the most misunderstood concept of management in general everywhere. It's not even just product managers, but that we are the people who tell people what to do. And that's an old school management thought cycle for industrial workers, right? The way that managers came up through there is that we had very low skilled workers who didn't know what they were doing on factory floors, and managers had to tell people what to do. Now we have very high skilled workers, usually even at the bottom of the pyramid of everybody. We usually have very, very high skilled workers there, and we have to give them the space and the creativity, allow them to be creative in problem solving. And that's what we hire them for. We don't hire them just to execute. We hire them to think for their brains. So managers have to give people the space for that and just kind of step back, provide enough direction, keep the focus, provide the goals and the outcomes and the guardrails that I want you to stay within, and then just let the teams run and give them the guidance where they need, be the support.